Mr. Joyce, why have you been a bit wishy-washy on asylum seekers in the last 24 hours, Mr. Joyce?
Look, I know what you're referring to. Well, this is quite clear. You don't try and fix one problem, which was the problem of people coming in here under their own arrangements by boat, by creating another one, which was the banning of the live cattle trade. It's as clear as that. You don't fix one problem by creating another one.
Deputy Prime Minister.
Sorry, please. Yeah.
Thank you. APN newspapers have been campaigning for a fair go for the regions, trying to close the gap between metro areas and regional areas. Is this something the Turnbull government would support?
Absolutely, and that's why we're making these important investments right here. This is vital investment in regional Australia. And can I just say to you, one of the great benefits of our national economic plan and our focus on jobs and growth across the country is that you're seeing a 21st century economy that is far more diverse, because you're seeing enormous growth in tourism, which benefit 44% of every tourist dollar goes into regional Australia, and of course phenomenal growth in agriculture. And you know, we talk about the dining boom overtaking the mining boom. Well, we can have both. But what we're seeing is great growth here, but you need to have the water. And we have got masses of water in northern Australia. As you know, that's where most of Australia's water falls.
Hello, you're watching ABC News 24. Just welcoming viewers from Western Australia. We're listening to the Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull and his Deputy Barnaby Joyce. They're holding a media conference near Rockhampton in central Queensland.
We'll add thousands of jobs and add $1 billion of production to this region. Sorry, please.
Can you please break down how those 2,000 jobs would be expected? Is that going to happen now, or is it in a few years' time?
Well, this is what will come following the construction of the weir because of the increased agricultural production. I mean, you get, and all of these things feed into each other. Irrigated agriculture is the most productive agriculture everywhere in the world, has been for thousands of years, in fact. Agriculture has been around for a very long time, pretty much as long as humans have been, but it gets smarter and more innovative all the time. I mean, look what Eric and Christine are doing here. You know, they're using the latest technology, the latest genetics to deliver sweet potatoes with all the different characteristics that their customers need. And that's right across the board. Australian farmers are innovative. And, you know, we talk about our innovation and science agenda, and that is critical to our success in the future. And just because agriculture's been with us for a long time doesn't mean that it isn't at the cutting edge, the forefront of innovation. And it is right around Australia and right here where we're standing here today on Eric's farm.
Ali and Michael. Ali and Michael.
Water infrastructure, real good where's been talked about for over 2 decades. Why now?
Well, because you've got a government that's prepared to do it. You've got a Prime Minister and a Deputy Prime Minister, among other members, who are passionate about water. I'll tell you, a lot of these water projects have been around longer than all of us. They've been around, some of them, for a century. Dr. Bradfield identified quite a few of them not quite 100 years ago. So the reality is you need political will, and you need leadership, and you need leaders that understand water. And Barnaby and I do. We really do understand the importance of water, the importance of irrigation, and we've both got a passion for it. So I am so excited to be supporting this and announcing this, and I know that we will do a lot more. We've got a lot of water in Australia, but what we don't have is enough good management of it, and that's particularly in the north.
Michael.
Mr. Turnbull, your funding for Rookwood is obviously conditional on state funding. How confident are you that the state will stump up that cash, and what have your dealings been like with them on this issue?
Well, I'll ask Barnaby to answer that, but I'm very confident the state will come to the party. It's a really compelling project. You get a lot of water for the investment. There's a lot of water for the taxpayers' buck there, and it's a compelling one. So I'm very comfortable the state will come to the party.
Now, what further is we know that the state government also understands how important Central Queensland is. We know quite clearly that What is really driving up here is their desire to make sure we strengthen our job prospects. We know that what this produces is over 2,000 jobs. We know that even construction is going to assist people, whether they're earth movers, whether they have the quarry pits, whether they're surveyors. All these people know that this form of infrastructure also stimulates the economy for this region and also central Queensland in general. We also know that the money that will come in from here, the $1 billion a year, that is also an accelerator for the commerce, for the size of the economy of central Queensland. The only thing that we've also proven today, that there's one side of government that has the ticker to go out and build this, and that is the Liberal National Coalition. They're the ones who go out and do it. They're the ones who have the form on this. They're the ones who are actually delivering on this. We're the doers. Now to the others.
Minister Julie Bishop, Julie Bishop this morning has said that the government doesn't believe there is any link between the Indonesian government and people smugglers. That is in contrast, Mr. Joyce, with what you said this morning on 7. You said you were stating the bleeding obvious. So what is the government's line? Has Mr. Joyce gone?
Let me deal with that. You're being unfair to my good friend, the Deputy Prime Minister here. Let me be quite clear about this. There is no link between the Indonesian government and people smuggling. The Indonesian government, and I count the Indonesian President, Joko Widodo, Jokowi, as a good friend. He is a great leader, and he and his wife, Ibu Iriana, and Lucy and I spent a very, very productive time together in Jakarta last year, and I believe our relations between Australia and Indonesia have never been better than they are today. So that's and what we've had to do is recover a lot of damage that was done to our relations by the Labor government when they precipitously and suddenly stopped live cattle exports to Indonesia. That did enormous damage to the cattle industry, of course, across Australia, but it was an incredible affront to Indonesia. Now, the only point that I want to stress is that our cooperation with Indonesia in terms of stopping people smuggling is very, very strong. They are as committed to stopping that trade as we are, and indeed all the other countries that are party to the Bali process. But what the Labor Party did, we often look at these things from naturally as Australians from our own perspective, and most Australians, I think, were horrified by that live cattle ban, not least because what it did to farmers in Australia and cattle producers here, beef producers here in Australia. But it was also an outrageous affront to Indonesia, and we should treat our neighbours, our friends and neighbours with respect, and I do, and we do. We have a good relationship with them, as I say, I think President Jokowi is a great leader. He's in fact an inspirational leader, and one whose importance is quite profound because it goes beyond Indonesia, because Jokowi, as he often says, as the popularly elected leader of the largest Muslim country in the world, as Jokowi says regularly, he says Indonesia is proof positive that Islam, democracy and moderation are compatible, and he's a great role model and a great leader in a troubled world, and he has my immense respect for the leadership he's shown both internationally and in terms of his relations with us.
So
please, sorry.
Had any contact with the Queensland Premier with regards to the ongoing unrest in Arakoon, and what is the solution to the problem up there?
Yes, I spoke to the Premier this morning.